Mr. President, Mrs. Carter, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to you all, and welcome to Kennedy Center.
Washington, D.C. It's a city with many famous attractions, and among them, the famed Kennedy Center. But D.C. has long had a vibrant theater scene that extends far beyond that notable spot. In all, there's more than 90 local theater companies spread out around the DMV. Each of those theaters employs dozens of theater professionals, from actors to stage managers to technicians. But for many, they struggled for years to make it by while pursuing the passion that they love.
Most of us do 1, 2, or 3 other things and juggle a very busy schedule in order to continue to pursue theater. And those of us like me, whose non-theater job does not offer us healthcare, then we have to really scramble.
Laura Giannarelli is one of the founding members of the Washington Stage Guild, which was founded in 1986. Ever since, Laura has been a staple of the DC theater scene, working both as an actor and separately as a book narrator with the Library of Congress. She earns health insurance through an actors union, but that coverage can be frustrating since it's directly tied to the number of weeks you work.
I had an incredibly good year. I think it was 2007 or 2008, where I did 4 shows, essentially back to back. I worked all season. I had maybe 2 weeks off, and I still only qualified for 6 months of coverage and then another 6 months of coverage. I worked almost the whole bloody season, and I still didn't earn an honest to goodness full year of coverage.
But Laura is luckier than others in the local industry, who often work freelance and don't receive healthcare through any theater company. Some freelancers, like wig designer LaShawn Melton, say the fear of losing coverage and lack of employees in many local theaters forces people to come to work even if they're sick.
I got pink eye probably 3 years ago when I was working. What about the people who are only here for 4 weeks? They don't qualify for health insurance, so they have to work. And I believe that's how I got the pink eye, because the artist was scared not to come to work. You're expected to be there. You're not expected to miss a show when you're a crew, because they don't have coverage for you. There's not one additional crew member for if someone gets sick. They don't do that.
Sensing the need, Theater Washington, a local nonprofit, launched the Taking Care Fund in 2012 to create a safety net for uninsured theater workers.
So the Taking Care Fund, it provides funds, grants, to people who work in the theater community in the region. So anywhere from $500 to $5,000 on an annual basis. So it covers medical expenses and other emergency expenses. When someone faces an emergency medical and they're living paycheck to paycheck, it's really hard to cover those expenses, as we know. So this was a way for the community to provide support, immediate support, and to really help people when they're most in need.
And that was all prior to the pandemic. Cody Whitfield has been in charge of the Taking Care Fund since the onset of the pandemic and has seen the rising need firsthand.
I read every single application. I see what every single person is just desperate to survive. The fund exists because of a failure of our government to take care of its citizens.
You know, there was just that pause. And so there was many shows that were launching, and there were many shows that planned that never got to launch. And some were just cut off after opening night. So during that time, we went right into action with the Taking Care Fund to raise money and to start to give it out. It was, I mean, the way the industry works, people had projects and productions lined up for the next 2 years, but everything was put on pause.
I didn't get unemployment till September of 2020, and I stopped working March 2020. So for almost 6 months, I had no income. We as theater professionals, it's like we're non-existent. Like, no one cares for us, no one protects us, even during the pandemic.
So what comes next? Many see universal healthcare as the only way forward to truly protect theater professionals' long-term interests.
There are some actors that I know that live life pretty close to the bone. You know, they're pretty poor. And something like universal health care would make a huge difference. And I think that taking care is a wonderful attempt at a safety net. But it can't possibly, I mean, unless Warren Buffett decides to fund it, it can't help everybody who wants help.
In an ideal world, we wouldn't have the Taking Care Fund. And you know, if that world ever came about, like let's say we have universal health care, you know, then we would like to be giving money for people to do their art, right? Rather than to meet their basic needs.